Hello, my fellow project managers. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. I've been in the middle of training this Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and some of you are in that class, so you know we have been busy. And we are right smack dab in the middle of schedule management. Now, you do know that in developed schedule, we begin talking about Agile. We step it up talking about Agile. And in order to get our students to know more about Agile, we have set aside 2 Saturdays to go deeper into the PMP Guide and the Agile Practice Guide to have a holistic view to Agile as presented in these 2 books. So we're going to talk about Agile, and our friend, our trainer, Roy, is going to be teaching this week on the 25th and next week on, I believe it's the 2nd of May. You don't want to miss it. Go to agileprinciple.com and sign up. And we're going to a previous class we had to have a quick sample of what our training in Agile is like with Roy.
So it got a little bit heavy because now I was holding their feet to the flame and asking questions that were more from an Agile perspective, talking about MVP and the product owner. And, there were questions about, so the team is actually that powerful and things such as that. Can you talk about this whole philosophy, this mindset? Give us a little reboot of the mindset just to help us here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, so Agile is really 2 things. First, Agile is, of course, a set of processes and practices that we follow. But more importantly, Agile is more about the mindset and philosophy and culture of an organization. Just as an example, so we prefer cross-functional, self-organizing, empowered, stable teams. And that's a very unusual thing to have in a more project-focused, prescriptive kind of hierarchical type of organization. Now, there's huge value in forming that kind of a team, because instead of just having a collection of individuals that are responsible for their own personal results, we would prefer to have a team working very closely together for the team goals, the team accountability, team ownership. So you have a group of people that work really well together, and they help each other out. So if someone's getting stuck, you have other people that can help out and perhaps mentor, or even if it's just to get them coffee, something to help them have a slightly better day and to improve their productivity. So that's often a very different culture than what you see in a lot of organizations. Most organizations are more traditional, hierarchical, command and control, where they have a manager or a team lead telling them everything to do. And we instead kind of take the approach that people are adults and people are smart and they can contribute better when they're not told what to do. There's a great quote that I like to use. It's, I don't want to work for a company that values my output, but not my input. So we really want to encourage people to feel wanted, to feel needed, to feel that they matter. And that's really the big cultural change. It's a lot more about the behavioral aspects and the psychological aspects than it is just about the processes. The processes are important, of course, but the people and how they behave is far more important. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Roy. I mean, that's extremely refreshing. Thank you very much for that reboot. Coming from the predictive world, a lot of us struggle, and then when we think we're finally Hyde, we become Jekyll again and go back.
Yeah.
Split personality. But today I wanted us to kind of take a look at these so-called tasks from the business point. Business point of the world. Should we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got the sheet in front of me to make sure that we're covering things appropriately. So thank you, Phil, for sending that little outline. It's very, very beneficial.
Awesome.
So a lot of what we're going to talk about today, and maybe I should share this, or would you like to share, Phil, or do you want me to share it?
You can share it. Cool.
Yeah, let me share this then. All right. There we go. Sorry, 1 second. There. Screen 1, and awesome. Okay, so there we are. Let me just get my chat window. For some reason, this always gets rid of my chat window when I do this.
I like the dark layout. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the dark layout too. It's pretty nice. All right, well, there it is. There's my chat window. Okay, sorry about that. All right, some of these things you're going to be very familiar with. These are, a lot of these come from more traditional approaches. However, in many cases, we do them a slightly different way. One thing that I want to encourage you to remember is just because we're doing Agile doesn't mean that we're going to throw out all of those great things that we do from a traditional approach. We still need risk management. We still need to worry about compliance. We still need to worry about all of those things that you would normally worry about in a traditional approach. So the difference, though, is that we might do them at a different time. We might do them in a slightly different way, but they still need to be done. Managing risk is important. Making sure we're compliant with regulations and things of that nature are very, very important to us. So let's start with the first one. That's plan and manage project compliance. So some of the things, it's not just project compliance, obviously. It's also, we might have some regulatory and legal and all those other kinds of compliance things that we need to worry about. So take it as an example, Americans with Disability Act. So that's a regulatory need. We need to make sure that our projects, especially if we're doing user interface kind of applications, things like that, need to be compliant with those regulations. Now, we do it slightly differently in Agile. In more traditional approaches, you might do it, with more documentation and reviews and that sort of thing. We do something slightly different. And one of the things that we do is we create something that's called a definition of done. Now, let me back up and talk about what definition of done is, and hopefully this will make a little more sense. So if you remember from our first session where we talked about Scrum, we do work in small increments. So they're called sprints. So it's typically a 2-week period of time. And at the end of that 2-week period of time, we're expected to have produced something of value to our customers. That's the goal every 2 weeks. Now, to help us understand what is done and what's not done, we actually define it. We define done. And we say these are the things that are necessary to consider the work completed. Now, we do that for a couple of reasons. One is we want to start to shut down that done but kind of concept. I'm sure you've had that where you ask somebody, are you done? And they say, yeah, I'm done. All I have left to do is this and this and this and this. So they say they're done, but they're honestly not done. In Agile, done is a very binary thing. So you're either done or you're not. That's pretty much it. So the reason I bring up the definition of done is most of the things that are in our definition of done are very, very simple things. Like it's been in the software world, it'd be, it's been coded. John, did you see my screen now? I just noticed your comment. Is everyone able to see? Phil, you're able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, terrific. Thank you. Just wanted to confirm. Definition of done is typically very lightweight things like it's been coded, it's been tested, documented, code reviewed, all those kind of normal kinds of things that we do. But the other thing that we do with our definition of done is we add what we call system constraints. And they're basically the non-functional requirements, the NFRs. So things like it meets certain performance needs, it meets certain regulatory needs, like, just as an example, like, ADA, our application complies with these regulations. So we do it in a very lightweight approach, but it is documented and the team agrees that this is going to be accomplished with every single thing that we work on. And that way we're always reminded that we need to stay within compliance, and these are the regulatory things that are necessary for us to meet. At the end of every sprint, the team verifies, have we met those non-functional requirements? Have we met all these regulatory and other kinds of concerns like security, things like that. Now, it's not just the team, because we do need to have kind of a trust and verify approach. So we trust the team to do their jobs, but it's always a good idea just to make sure. So for that, we do have the capability of doing reviews, but we also have a product owner and a scrum master that's part of the team that help us stay within compliance. They help us stay within the constrictions or the restrictions of our project. So some of it is lightweight and some of it is actually well documented. But at the end of every sprint, we are reviewing that we have stayed in compliance for those things that we have worked on throughout the entire sprint. Now, the other things like, analyzing consequences of noncompliance, quite honestly, they're very similar to what we would do in traditional approaches. If something works in a traditional approach, it will likely also work in an agile approach, except that we're doing it in smaller increments. So each piece.
So, my friends, I wanted you to have a little taste of the class so that you see it's dynamic. We're interacting with the students. We're interacting as instructors. It's very dynamic. Very pragmatic as well. You see that Roy brings in ideas and concepts from the real world and how Agile is actually practiced, not just from the book, but actually real world experience. So perhaps you're a PMP and you didn't study Agile. This will be a perfect opportunity for you to join this class, okay? To join, you want to go to agileprinciple.com, okay? Sign up. It's starting at 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, and it's both this Saturday on the 25th, next week Saturday on the 2nd. You don't want to miss it, okay? We look forward to seeing you there, and don't forget that Agile is not just on the PMP exam. We also have Agile concepts tested on the CAPM exam. Okay, now no one has said the degree to which it's tested, but if you go through the CAPM exam content outline, you see Agile is talked about there. So it becomes very important for you guys to get this down, to be comfortable with it, and for you to be able to tackle the questions. And if you're a PMP that's already certified, but still not very knowledgeable about Agile, come, bring your questions, bring your concerns, okay? And join our students. We already have almost 20 students that will be in this program. You don't want to be left out, okay? So go to agileprinciple.com and we'll see you on Saturday and next week. Take care and bye for now.